Nicole Malliotakis. She's a member of the House Ways and Means Committee and the Republican Conference Assistant Whip. And Congresswoman, I want to get your reaction to what we're seeing as this razor-thin vote is a week from today.
Well, I, like so many others that you've been speaking with, also have questions and concerns. And I think that this week should be an opportunity for us to raise those concerns with Speaker Johnson. I think that nobody at the end of the day wants to have a leadership fight. I don't see value in that. But if we're going to be united in the next Congress and we are going to deliver on President Trump's agenda, there needs to be some changes. And I think it would, just like our constituencies right before Election Day, we go to them and we answer their questions and concerns and we tell them what our plan is for the next 2 years. The Speaker, I think, should be doing the same thing right now and hearing out what our ideas are and how we can do things better to make sure that we're successful and that we're going to be more united than ever.
Okay, so give me your position then. What is it that you want to hear from him? What are your questions? What are your concerns?
I think last week just raised a lot of concerns about how we're going to do things. Are we going to work within our conference to get the solution, or are we automatically going to run to the Democrats to get votes? And I think that that is a real concern that a lot of members across the spectrum have. I think in general, there needs to be a better communication between the leadership and the membership. We should not see our speaker shaking hands on a deal without first coming to the conference and getting buy-in, making sure that we're building consensus. So I think for me, that's a huge one. Well, I think the other thing is, we have legislative priorities that we can get done throughout the year. You shouldn't see members jockeying at the end of the year to try to get their legislative items in a massive package. What will the leadership do to help us get these bills that don't cost money, that are not contentious or have controversy across the finish line throughout the year, and so we can deliver legislative wins at home? I think that's another thing that I would like to see. But overall, I think that you're right, and what the members that you've spoken with are right. But at the same time, we need to be in a position to make sure that we deliver on President Trump's agenda, or else we're going to find ourselves in this very situation 100 days from now. And so that's why we have to have these conversations today.
Well, that's, Congressman Zicki was on with me yesterday, and he said that. He said, look, if we run the risk, you run the risk of delaying implementation of the Trump agenda when the 119th Congress meets. And then again, the one thing I think that would be interesting to see maybe is some bipartisanship. And I don't know if there's any relationship with the Democrats as we go into this new year. But at the same time, with that thin majority, I would think that there's going to have to be some reach across the aisle. Is that possible, do you think, right now in this political environment that we're in?
Well, with the Senate being at 53, you need 7 Democrats to pass legislation unless you do something by reconciliation. And so you're going to need to have some conversations with the Democrats. And the thing is that before those agreements are made, before the handshake is done, our speaker should be coming to our membership, making sure that we understand what's going on in those negotiations and what has been agreed to, not after the fact. And I think that can go a long way in building trust, making sure that it's a more member-driven process from the very beginning. Also, we have some major ticket items, right? You have the unleashing of American energy. You have border security. We have the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. They're going to expire in 2025. These are major policies that will have severe consequences if we don't do them. So we have to be successful. So how do we work within our current group to find consensus where you're going to see the border states are going to want to see, obviously, border security? We all do. Even, New York, I'm a northern border state, but very affected by the current policy of the Biden administration with this migration crisis that we've seen. The energy producing states, they're going to want to see jobs, American production really ramp up through unleashing domestic energy production, repealing regulations, and then the tax cuts. Ways and Means member that I am, I'm very concerned about pushing tax cuts to the end of the year. We need to do it now in a reconciliation. So is that enough to make sure all the members have something that is important to them and their constituencies, so we can put together a successful package. These are the conversations that need to be had today. And I think we can build consensus within our conference and not have to rely on Democrat votes, although we would like to see Democrats support policies because they're the right policies that the American people want, that will help our economy, bring national security, and make energy affordable again in this country.
Well, you're going to have some new colleagues across the aisle that ran against their own party in their districts and they won. So it's going to be an interesting, it's going to be very interesting when things get underway in the new year. You mentioned migration, immigration. I want to bring up what's happening in New York City with you because Mayor Adams wants now federal charges against the Guatemalan migrant suspected of setting that sleeping woman on fire on the subway. He watched her burn to death. A City Hall spokeswoman told The Post that Mayor Adams has directed the NYPD to work with ICE's investigations unit and explore criminal charges against the suspect. This would be under the federal arson statute. Meanwhile, the man that was arrested for randomly stabbing two people inside the Grand Central Station subway on Christmas Eve went to court yesterday. He reportedly shouted and cried for his mother as officers pulled him out of the courtroom. Congresswoman, what can be done about crime inside the city's subways?
Look, the bottom line is we need real leadership at the state level. We have certain laws that are in place, that were put in place by the Democrats, that have made our city less safe. And that's the bottom line. And someone can say, well, crime in certain categories have come down from last year. We should be comparing the number to what it was in 2020 before the bail law took effect. And if you do that, you see nearly every single category of crime has gone up because we are in a situation where the Democrats are allowing repeat offenders to be put onto the streets. In addition to that, the city not cooperating with ICE to deport people who are in this country illegally, wreaking havoc, committing crimes, is just outrageous. And the mayor needs to cooperate at least where he can right now under the existing law. When it's a violent offender, when it's a sex offender, he has the ability to turn those people over to ICE, but he has not done so. They've complied with 0 detainer requests. And so these gang members, these drug traffickers, they're being released again back onto the street instead of deported from our country. So these are policies that the Democrats have put in place. I hope, we have a governor's race next year. I hope people will be paying attention because really this issue can be addressed by our lawmakers in Albany. Instead, they refuse, not only do they refuse to do it and fix the law, but they actually pass more laws to make it more difficult for our law enforcement to do their job.
Congressman, I've only got about a minute left with you, but real quick, Governor Hochul backtracking on that surge pricing idea for the congestion pricing, the tax on New York City. You've been, pursuing legal remedies here. Where are we?
Well, we're still in court. We are fighting this thing, and we will not let up. We've also have obviously President Trump coming in, and we're exploring the opportunities for him to intervene here. I've spoken about this issue with President Trump. He understands and knows how disastrous this will be for New York City's economy, not to mention that it will cost average working New Yorkers thousands of dollars a year. The governor wants us to ride the subway, that she needs to make it safe. So you can't just tax us to death and then try to push people onto the subway. It's not going to happen. People will just not come into Manhattan. Make the subway safe. You'll see more people utilizing the system and less relying on cars. But we're hopeful that Trump administration can intervene here and demands that a environmental impact study is done under NEPA law requirements. That is why we're suing, because the Biden administration rubber stamped the Hochul plan without that study. And so we're exploring those options now.
And Trump says he's going to help. Trump says he's going to get involved. Real quick.
Well, President Trump has said that he is opposed to the congestion tax and he wants to help us. We just have to find the proper legal avenue. All
right, Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time, and Happy New Year to you. Thank you.